Hello students, welcome to Educate. Let us talk about the local extremes as well as the saddle points. So basically, remember that if you are given a single variable function, the function just like a cubic function, you can find what we say is known as the local maximum and the local minimum values. So basically, the points where the graph turns, those are known as the stationary points. So basically, we say that they are stationary points because there is no rate of change. In other ways, we are trying to say that the gradient is equals to 0 at those points. For example, you can see that here at this blue line, the graph is turning, and that is the turning point, the maximum turning point, the local maximum turning point. So we can deduce that the value of f of x here, or the value of y here, it is greater than the other values of y that are next to this. So this basically tells us that this is the local maximum turning point. Basically, is the local maximum turning point. So this statement is just signifying that the y value that you find here at the turning point is greater than any other y value close to the function. So in this case, you can see that you can also draw a green line here. You can draw a green line. This will be just a tangent. You can see that at that tangent, we are sure that the gradient is 0. So we can say that is a stationary point. Yeah, we can just say that's a stationary point. And we're going to say that this is known as a local minimum. It is because we have got the smallest y value if we compare to the other y values closer to this point. This one is the smallest. Remember, maximum means the highest. That's why we say f of x naught is greater than f of x. And minimum means the lowest. Maximum, the highest, minimum, the lowest. So in this case, the lowest y value if you compare to the other ones that are closer. So stationary points, basically, their derivative is equal to 0. So whenever you differentiate a function at a stationary point, then you are going to get a derivative of 0, which is the gradient. Because remember that a horizontal tangent, which you can put on that particular turning point, it will just give you a gradient of 0. So now, for multivariable function, it is a similar analogy, but now we are going to use planes. We're not going to use tangent, we're actually going to use tangential planes. So this is a function of multiple variables, and it looks like a cone. It's actually a cone shaped. So basically here you can see that we have got z. So the function value in this case, it is z, and then you've got your y-axis here as well as the x-axis. So basically here you can see that if you just put a square here, just a square here below this, just a small square here, you can see that that square will be horizontal, or it will be lying flat in a sense. So it is actually similar to a tangent, but it is just a square. It is similar to a tangent, but it is a square. So basically, if you can just put this square that touches this multivariable function at only one point, we can say that we have got a stationary point there. So basically here, our stationary point, we're going to say it is the local minimum, because you can see that the value, it is the lowest. It is the lowest value. So the point that you're going to find at this is known as the local minimum in a multivariable function. We can do the same thing if we have got the one that is concave down. You can just take a square here. We say it is known as a tangential plane. So a square like this, and it must touch once. It must intersect the graph at only one point. So as it intersects the graph at only one point, you see that the value that you get, the f of x value here that you get, it is greater than each and every other values that you can get around. So we say it's a what? It's a local maximum. So this is your local maximum in a multivariable function. So basically, minimum is the smallest, maximum is the highest, basically. But we have got this thing known as a saddle point of a multiple variable function. So basically here, if you're going to take this multiple variable function, this blue one, it has got what we say is known as a saddle point, because if you take the same square and you put it here, you take the same square that we call a tangential plane, you just put it on this function at this point, you're going to see that it will be flat. It will be able to touch the point, the graph at only one point, and it will be flat. It will be nearly something like a horizontal square. So basically, you can say that the gradient at this point here, at this point, the gradient at this small point here, it is actually 0. But now we cannot regard this as a local maximum, because you can see that this is a higher part of a function. This is also a higher part of a function. It is, all of these values will be greater than this one. So we cannot consider this one a what? We cannot consider it a local maximum, because it is not the biggest. It does have a gradient of 0 at the point, but it is not the biggest. So a saddle point is basically a point whereby the graph has got a gradient of 0, but it is not the highest or it is not the lowest. So it is actually not the local minimum, it is not the local maximum, but it does have a gradient of 0. So it's known as a saddle point. Most of the times you're just going to say this shape. You can see that it is actually in between. It is not the lowest value, it is not the highest value, but it does have a gradient of 0. Hence we say it's a stationary point, and we say it's known as a saddle point. So these are our stationary points. Basically, the gradient is 0 at those points. So now, for us to find a stationary point, for us to find the stationary points, it can be either a local minimum, a local maximum, or a saddle point, we need to equate our gradient of the function to 0. Because remember that we've said that the derivative, the first derivative of a function, which is its gradient, must be equals to 0 at its stationary points. Just simply meaning that the gradient does not have a rate of change. The graph does not have a rate of change. It is not changing in any direction, none whatsoever. So in this case, for us to find the stationary points of a function, we need to equate. We need to equate this part. So this part will represent our gradient. So this part is representing our gradient of a multiple variable function in this case, because you can see that your function is given by x and y. So your gradient is actually going to be expressed in terms of partial derivatives. And then you're going to equate this to 0 to say that this is a stationary point. And also, for us to find a stationary point, sometimes the gradient must not exist, just simply meaning that the function is not differentiable at that point. For example, if we can just take this shape here, you can see that this shape here, it has a local minimum value at this point, because this is the lowest value. So we can say indeed, from just looking at it, this is a local minimum. This is a local minimum. But if we are going to observe carefully here, there is a sharp change in gradient here. So we say that there is no derivative at this point. Please go ahead and revisit your calculus 1 and 2 and about differentiability. So basically, we say that at this point, the function is not differentiable. The function does not have a gradient, but still, this is a lowest value. It is the local minimum. So for us to have stationary points, it's either our gradient must be equals to 0, or our gradient must not exist, meaning that we have a sharp 10, something like this, a sharp 10. It means that the function is not differentiable at that point. And then now, the question says, find all the stationary points on the function f of xy is equals to 2x squared plus y squared minus xy minus 7y. So remember that for us to find stationary points, the gradient must be equals to 0. So let us calculate the gradient of this function. So remember, this is a multivariable function, so its gradient will be the sum of the partial derivative of f with respect to x, I, plus the partial derivative of f with respect to y, j. Please do watch my video on gradients so that you can fully understand here. So basically here, if we compute the partial derivative with respect to x, we're going to differentiate this. We get 4x using the power rule, and then you are going to also differentiate this one because this one does not have x in it, so this term is actually a constant, so deriving a constant is just going to give you 0. So differentiate this in terms of x, you're going to remain with negative y. So this is 4x minus y. So 4x minus y, it is the partial derivative in terms of x, and I'm going to say I plus. Now you do the partial derivative in terms of y. So basically, this one does not have y in it, so it's a constant. We don't consider it when differentiating with respect to y. But this one does have y in it, this one does have y in it. So if even this one also does have y in it, so we can differentiate those terms and find the partial derivative with respect to y. So this will give us 2y, and then differentiating this part with respect to y, we're going to remain with negative x, and then differentiating the other part, you're going to remain with negative 7, and then this will be j. So now you have your gradient. You need to equate your gradient to 0, because you know that for all the stationary points, it can be either a local minimum, a local maximum, or a saddle point. But as long as it's a stationary point, its gradient can be equals to 0, or its gradient does not exist, meaning that it is not differentiable. So now in this case, we can equate the partial derivative in terms of x, which is the gradient or the rate of change with respect to x. So here, this is 4x minus y must be equals to 0, or you can equate 2y minus x minus 7 to 0. So you can equate both the partial derivatives to 0 because you want to find the stationary points. And then now here it's simpler to make the y subject of the formula. So y is equals to 4x, and you can just substitute this 4x into here and solve this simultaneously. So basically this will give us 2 times 4x minus x minus 7 is equals to 0. Considering that here, where there was y, we have put 4x. We're just solving this simultaneously. So in this case, this is going to give us 8x minus 7 is equals to 0, such that our x is equals to 1. Because if you say 8x minus x, you get 7x, transpose 7 to the other side and divide by 7, you're going to get that x is equals to 1. So now using this x value, we can find the y value of our stationary point. So y will be equals to 4 times positive 1. So y is actually 4. So we have a stationary point, and the stationary point is P, given by x is 1, y is 4. So this is the only stationary point that we have, because basically when you calculate the stationary points by equating the partial derivatives to 0, you must get all the stationary points. So in this case, we only have got one stationary point. It can be either a local minimum, a local maximum, or it can be a saddle point. We're still going to do a video on how to determine that. But basically, for you to find a stationary point, you need just to equate the partial derivatives to 0. Let us try to do the same thing here for function g at xy, given by x squared plus xy plus y squared minus 6x plus 2. So now the question says determine all the stationary points. So basically here, remember to find the stationary point, we are going to find the gradient of g as a function of xy, and then here basically we add the partial derivative of g in terms of x plus the partial derivative of g in terms of y, in terms of y. So basically here, if we do the partial derivative in terms of x, this is going to give us 2x plus y minus 6, and then this is going to be all I. Remember, when you're doing the partial derivative, you look at x squared, you look at xy, you look at negative 6. All of these terms have got x in them, so you can partially derive them in terms of x. So this will give us 2x, this one will give us y, and this one will give us negative 6. Plus, you now do the partial derivative in terms of y. Basically, this one does not have y in it, so it's a constant. But this one, xy, does have y in it. So we can differentiate this in terms of y. We remain with x. And then this one as well, this will be plus 2y using the power rule, and then differentiating 2 is just going to give us a constant. So basically this is x plus 2y. That is your partial derivative with respect to y. So you say this is j. So this is your what? This is your gradient at a particular x and y value. So now remember that your gradient must be equated to 0 so that you can find all the stationary points that are in that particular multivariable function. So in this case, you are going to say that the gradient of g at xy must be equals to 0. So you just equate these individual partial derivatives to 0. So now equating that, you're going to get that 2x plus y minus 6 must be equals to 0. Or you can say x plus 2y must be equals to 0. And then here it is simpler to make y the subject of the formula here. So y is actually 6 minus 2x. Or in that case, you've got y is equals to 6 minus 2x. So you can just substitute this here and then you solve simultaneously. So this will be x plus 2, substituting here, 6 minus 2x is equals to 0. So in this case, this is x plus 2 times 6 is 12 minus 4x is equals to 0. And then here, you are going to get negative 4x is equals to, negative 4x plus x, that's going to give you negative 3. Okay, this is going to give you negative 3x. And this negative 3x will be equals to what? Will be equals to negative 12. So in that way, x is equals to 4. So x is equals to 4, positive 4. So you know that the stationary point has an x value of 4 and a particular y value. In this case, to find the y value, you can just substitute x back into this and say y is equals to 6 minus 2 times x, which is 4. So the stationary point here is 6 minus 8, which is negative 2. So our stationary point, we can just name it S. It is given by 4 is 2, negative 2. So basically, it means that we've got an x value of 4 and a y value of negative 2 at that particular stationary point. But you do not know what type of stationary point is that. It can be a local minimum, it can be a local maximum, or it can be a saddle point. So in our next video, we are going to do a basic introduction of how do you determine if it's a local minimum, local maximum, or a saddle point. Thank you for staying tuned to educate. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel.